What's up, everyone? In this video, I'm going to introduce our next topic, voting methods. First thing I want to talk about here is, have you ever noticed that we use different voting methods for things like America's Got Talent, the NBA MVP voting, and the Oscars or Academy Awards? So when it comes to these three particular scenarios, the America's Got Talent voting, the NBA MVP, and say the Best Picture in Oscars, the Academy Awards, each one of these scenarios uses a slightly different way of counting their votes and tallying their votes. So, for example, in America's Got Talent, their system is really social media and apps and other platforms like that, right? You go onto your social media account and you sign up, or you sign up for their app or something like that, and you just vote, right? And you can kind of vote for whoever you want. You can vote a limited number of times, but all they're really doing in the end is they're counting and they're saying, you know what, whoever had the most votes is going to win. So that's pretty simple criteria. The most votes wins. Okay. But for like the NBA, when they're doing their voting, there's a couple of conditions that are placed on this. One, only media members vote. And when they vote, what they're doing is they rank the players. That means that they're saying this person's getting my first rank, second rank, third rank, like they're putting them in an order of their choices. And they actually assign points to these ranks. And so points are assigned. And this is how they determine who wins. They're saying, okay, whoever has the most points is going to win. And there's some version of this where I think they do like whoever's in your first spot is going to get 10 points. Whoever's in your second spot, I think they get like 7 points or something like that. So you get fewer points the more you go down the list, right? And the most points is what's going to win. So every vote that's cast is like giving 10 points for the first place and 7 points for the second place and so on. So the most points wins. So it's a little different because instead of just the number of votes, you're looking at the most points. With the Academy Awards and like things like Best Picture, you actually run into a little bit of a challenge here because now you're really restrictive. Only Academy members get to vote. So only Academy members. Okay, so that's one condition. Okay, but what they do with their rankings is they do multiple steps here. So they rank their choices. But what they do is they actually take out after that ranking and they do a tally. They take out whoever had the lowest score. So they're doing an elimination. They eliminate the lowest ranked choices or choice. And I'm being very loose on this because I don't study this particular one very well, but it gives you this idea. Like now they're doing something different to the process. It's still voting, it's still turning in a ballot, but then they're eliminating low choices, and then they redo this process again and again. So this is we repeat this process. So this is a way in which voting is carried out in sort of three different scenarios with three different types of voting. So kind of the segue here is, well, what does this have to do with what we just did? Well, if we're talking about like a democratic government like we have, how does the government decide which apportionment methodology they're going to use? How do they know if they're going to do it in Hamilton or Jefferson? Well, it's typically done with votes. Like most decisions in any democracy, everything is typically done with voting. You vote for representatives to represent you in Congress. So that's like the core of our system. We vote for those reps, and then that makes up Congress. And then that usually what happens somewhere in Congress is they make committees, right, to debate and decide on things like laws. And then those committees, guess what they do in those committees? Those committees also vote. And they'll probably vote to make a decision. So this is sort of that tie-in between what we did before and what we're doing now is that, well, before we had this big picture or process that we're going to analyze. Now we're going to kind of look at, well, once you have two choices laid out in front of you, how do you decide which of those choices you're going to take? And typically, again, it's through some kind of voting process in at least a democratic society. So we're going to take a little look here at these processes over the next couple weeks.